gonna show up, show up, show up, show up, show up. I'm gonna show up, show up, show up.
I want to tell you a secret about one of my songs. The song is called Show Up, and I didn't write it on a day I felt inspired and full of energy. I wrote it on a day I didn't feel like doing any of the things I had promised myself I'd do. I was tired, my head was full of problems, I wanted to stay in bed, and that song came out of that exact feeling. Because the truth about reaching any goal we care about is this: the most important days are the days we don't feel like it. Last week, in part one of episode 10, I shared why we can't change what we can't measure. Today, I want to talk about the mindset that makes us keep measuring even when we want to quit.
I'm gonna show up, show up, show up, show up, show up. I'm gonna show up, show up, show up. I'ma give it
If
all
you
again.
didn't catch part one, a quick summary here. I gained almost 40 pounds without noticing, and the scale taught me that I can change what I can't measure. But measuring is only half the story, because knowing what to do and actually doing it are two completely different things. Today, I want to walk us through the 3 principles from the 12-week year that rewired how I show up to everything: my body, my business, and my music. These are the mindset shifts that keep us going on the days the numbers aren't moving. The body is sore and the inner voice is screaming at us to stop. By the end of this episode, we'll have 3 tools we can use tomorrow morning when the alarm goes off and we'd rather hit snooze.
I'ma give it all again. Show up, show up, all again. Show up, show up.
Let me be honest with you about something. When I started my fitness journey 4 years ago, the first weeks were brutal. And there were 2 reasons why. And I think these 2 reasons apply to anything new we are trying to build. Reason 1, I didn't have the habit yet. I was taking myself out of my comfort zone every single day. My body was sore everywhere, and that soreness was literally a voice in my head saying, "Don't go today, rest, you deserve it." Reason 2, and this one is bigger than we realize. In the first weeks, we don't see results yet. And we live in a world that has trained us to expect instant result. Social media is full of before and afters, and full of 30-day transformations, full of promises stating that within a blink of an eye, everything will change. And that's a lie. And I want to say it clearly because I think a lot of us have been hurt by it. There's no magic pill. There's no blink. The real work is slow. The real work is uncomfortable. And the real work is what makes us resilient enough to actually keep the result once we get it. Now, I'll share something funny. When I first signed up for that program I mentioned in part 1, I didn't even fully believe it would work. What kept me going in those first awful weeks was literally the money back guarantee. I kept thinking, okay, if this doesn't work, I'm claiming my money back. And the only way I can claim it is if I actually do the program. So I showed up to the gym, sore, tired, skeptical, just to prove to myself it didn't work so I could get my money back. And let me tell you what happened. It worked. I lost weight, I gained muscle, I lost inches of my waist. I wasn't shredded yet, but I was moving. And that's when I understood something that I want us to take with us today. We don't always need to believe. Sometimes we just need to show up anyway. The belief comes later. The belief comes from the evidence we build by showing up.
I'ma give it all again. Show up, show up, all again. Show up, show up, all again. Show up.
So, what are the shifts that make us keep going? The 12-week year gives us 3, And I want to walk through each one because they change how I think about everything. Shift 1, absolute accountability. This one means we stop looking for someone to blame when things don't go our way. Not our partner, not our schedule, not the weather or our hormones, not the company, and not the market. We own it, all of it. And when something goes wrong, instead of defending ourselves, we ask one question: what more can I do to get the result? That question has saved me so many times. Shift 2, act on commitment, not feelings. This is the one that hits the hardest because our feelings lie to us. They constantly lie to us. They tell us we are too tired, too busy, too sad, too overwhelmed to do the thing we have to do. And sometimes those feelings are real, but they are not the reason to break a commitment to ourselves. We made a promise. The promise does not care how we feel. We value the long term vision more than the short term comfort, period. Shift 3, greatness in the moment. And this one, this one changed my life because it told me something I needed to hear. Greatness is not something we get after we reach the goal. Greatness is how we show up right now, today, in the things we are doing. The goal just confirms it. These 3 shifts sound simple. They are not easy. But every time I have failed at something, I can trace it back to one of these 3 being missing. Every time I have succeeded, I can trace it back to these 3 being present. And after a quick break, I'll share exactly how I live each one and the tool that has saved me more mornings than I can count. Quick word about Veed, the tool I use to get these podcasts out with the worldwide transcripts. 2 things I love. 1, it takes my full 15-minute episode and automatically pulls out the best moments as short reels for Instagram and TikTok. And number 2, its captions are the most accurate I've ever used, even when I translate them into Spanish, French, German, Arabic, Japanese, for all of us watching from around the world. Through my link in the description, you will get 50% off the first 3 months. Check it out below. Welcome back. Before the break, we named the 3 shifts: own it, act on commitment, not feelings, and be great in the moment. Here's how I live these 3 in practice, not theory, not aspiration, what I actually do. For absolute accountability, I do the hard thing first thing in the morning. I learned this from a book called Fanatical Prospecting by Jeb Blount, and he says, eat the frog first. If your job is to eat a frog every single day, eat the frog first before anything else. Because if we leave it for later, we will find reasons not to do it every single time. I have applied this to everything. With my sales team, I ask them to prospect first thing in the morning. The hardest task done first. In my gym routine, I go early if I can. In my music, if Martin, my co-writer in the UK, only has time at 5 or 6 a.m. because of the time zone differences, I am up. I don't care how well I slept, I am up at the computer writing with him. And honestly, sometimes half asleep, I am more creative than wide awake. That's how I wrote Show Up. That's how I wrote my most recent songs, early, tired, and committed. Ownership means we do not negotiate with ourselves about whether the work gets done. We negotiate about when, and the answer is usually now. For acting on commitment, not feelings, I remember the song I wrote on the worst day. I wrote show up because I did not feel like showing up. And when I listen to that song now, it reminds me that the best work sometimes comes from the days we want to quit. If I had waited to feel like writing, that song wouldn't exist. If I had waited to feel like going to the gym, I would still be lying to myself in size 2 jeans. So I have a simple rule. When I feel resistance, I take it as a sign that I am about to do something that matters. Resistance is not a stop sign. Resistance is a compass. And for greatness in the moment, I act like the person I want to become today. I was raised in a culture of what I call false humbleness, where it was considered modest to shrink or to hide our talents, to pretend we were not capable of something. I have rejected that behavior. True humbleness is owning our gifts because they are gifts. Hiding them is not humble. Hiding them is actually ungrateful. So here is what I do. When I am on stage, and some of you have seen me on stage, I don't wait to feel famous. I don't wait to sell millions of streams. I don't wait to be the greatest artist in the world. I am the greatest artist in the world on that stage, in that moment. That stage is my heaven. That stage is mine. I own it as if I were the most famous singer alive. Because in that moment, in that room, to the people in front of me, I am. And that mindset, that greatness in the moment is what I bring into everything now, into my workouts, into my sales meetings, into my songwriting sessions at 5 a.m., and in this podcast. I don't wait to be great. I act great because I am great, and the results will follow. That is the whole thing. That is what the mindset shift looks like in real life. Here's the line I want to leave us with today. We don't earn greatness by reaching the goal. We access greatness by showing up as if we already are. The measuring we talked about in part 1 gives us the data. The mindset we talked about today gives us the fuel. And when we put them together, when we track the numbers and we show up, even on the days we don't feel like it, and we act with greatness right now, that is when the thing we've been dreaming about for years starts to actually move. We are not waiting to become, we already are. The work is just to act like it. So here's the challenge for you this week. We are going to do 2 small things. First, identify one frog, one task in our week that we keep avoiding. The gym, the call, the songwriting, the hard conversation, pick it. And this week, do it first. First thing in the morning, before email, before social media, before anything. And second, pick one moment this week where we will act great before the goal. One meeting we'll walk into like we already own the room. One rehearsal we'll sing like we are already in the world stage. One workout we'll show up to like we are already the athletic version of ourselves. Just one moment, and let's notice how it feels. That's it. Frog first, great now, 2 things. Make sure you DM me on Instagram at Angela Bendeck and tell me what your frog was this week and whether you ate it or not. I want to hear the story, and remember that I read every single message. If part 1 and part 2 of episode 10 of this series meant something to you, the best way to support the show is to share it with one person who has been waiting for the right moment to start. There is no right moment, there is only this one. share it with them, and subscribe so we meet again. Thanks for being here with me for both parts of episode 10. And don't forget, we can't change what we can't measure, and we can't measure what we won't show up for. So let's show up together.